We have a rumor. I'm going to call it a rumor. I'm not going to necessarily call it a report, but Jason La Canfora is putting out there that the 49ers' initial offer to Brock Purdy was starting at $45 million per year. That would have him as the 13th highest paid quarterback in the league if you slotted it based on APY. So let's talk about it. $45 million per year on average. We've obviously been talking about numbers between 50 and 60. You had Adam Schefter go on the Pat McAfee show today and throw out the number 50 and kind of speaking from the 49ers perspective, saying the 49ers probably want to get Brock Purdy on a shorter term deal in around 3 years. What if you offered Brock 3 years, $150 million, and that's where the conversation really started. So to be honest, if the 49ers offer really did start at this spot, it doesn't surprise me all that much, especially if they were wanting to land at 50. If that is truly the number that the 49ers want to get Brock at, then yeah, starting at 45 actually makes a lot of sense to me. So I think what the question is, where Brock and his reps starting at, that is the real conversation. Because let's say, we're just going to work through this exercise, right? It's a negotiation. So one side is always going to go low and the other side's going to go high. So what is the high benchmark? Probably 60. I don't know. Again, I'm just speculating. I don't know if that's actually what Brock and his reps are asking for. But as we've talked about, how this situation works is you take his resume and then you slot it against where the current quarterbacks are being paid. He's beaten Dak. He's beaten Jared Goff. He's beaten every single person on that list. Tua Tagovailoa, Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts. Like the list goes on and on. Obviously, outside of the big three, actually, I guess the big four. But other than that, he's beaten all the rest of the quarterbacks. And those are the guys right now that are currently slotted in the highest range. So you would have to assume, I would have to assume it'd be north of 55 would be where the Brock Purdy and his agents start. And if the 49ers are starting at 45, it's a pretty substantial gap, but it's honestly pretty in line with kind of where I was anticipating this to be and expecting it to be. I do believe, they're probably started out with about a $10 million gap. And if it's even beyond that, maybe $10 to $15 million gap, that's obviously extremely substantial. So we have to figure out like what it is. And again, I don't know if I'm necessarily going to say this is true. If it was true, I wouldn't be again surprised. Jason La Canfora, he used to be like an NFL insider. Honestly, I don't even know what he does. If he still even really works around the NFL anymore. I've been trying to figure out kind of like what he does right now. I know he was an insider at one point, so it's not too crazy to think that he got this information from somewhere, but he's so random to be the one who's putting this out. And the way that he says it, he says 49ers playing hardball with Purdy is very on brand. Starting your offers at 45 million per year is something. So again, like it's not even worded as a report. It's so I'm not going to sit here and say it's true or it's not true, but it's a conversation starter, right? It's something that we don't know. We don't know. We've heard, I mean, when I interviewed Mike Florio at the Super Bowl, he said 30. So, and we've seen every number in between. Like we mentioned, Schefter threw out a number today. So I don't know if this is true or not, but at the bottom line is is it is the reality, I think, of this particular negotiation with Purdy. And I said this from the very beginning. I don't expect them to be close. And because it's not close, that opens up the door for all the other things, all the, you know, trying to gauge his value through other teams and all of that stuff. So I don't know if that necessarily means anything, but if it did start at 45, um, I mean, you think about it. Like I remember when Kirk Cousins got paid, his number was 45, but Kirk Cousins was coming off a torn Achilles, and he was like 37 years old. So I would have to assume, you're Brock Purdy and you're his reps, and you're like, dude, like Brock took you to the Super Bowl. He's won, in the NFC Championship. He's taken you deep into the playoffs. Um, Something Kirk hasn't been able to do. I know Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, but I mean, like I said, he was past 35 and he got $40 million per year on average. So I don't think that's where Purdy's value is. I think he's beyond that because I don't think I remember when that deal went down, I was like, this is probably going to be Purdy's floor for this deal. I think I even went on 95.7 the game to discuss it and said this is probably going to be his floor because it was like right after that deal came through. And that seemed like it made sense to me at the time last year. And it still seems like it makes sense to me. Like 45 is the floor. And so that's where they're starting, and you have to go up. So is the target 50? Could it be 52? I think that's kind of where Tua is slotted. What I really think the target might be is Tua's deal. It could. Again, I have no idea. I have no insight to this, but it could be, and it'll be fascinating to see if that is the case. But um, I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna land on this when it's all said and done. Um, Tua came in at 53.1 on average salary. So maybe that's the target. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it could be Tua's deal, and if they're targeting, like, let's just again play the exercise in our head. If his agent is targeting Tua's deal at 53.1, he's not going to come in asking for 53. He's probably going to come in asking for 57 or 58. Um, and then if the 49ers are coming in at 45, you kind of see the gap. And then it's how do we close that gap and get it closer? So I don't know. Will be interesting, but this is the first time anyone has thrown out any numbers regarding what the 49ers have offered Brock. So I want to know what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.